So it's been about 2 months since the X4 was released, and it only took a day after the release for people to start hating it. But why? So in today's video, I want to share my long-term, honest, unsponsored review of the X4, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how the X4 actually performs, if you should buy it, and a few things people might not tell you, which everyone can do to make the footage look better. So let's start with the most important thing, which I think is actually usability and not the image quality. The reason I say that is because there's no other camera I can have so much fun with. I mean, of course I can record the same things with every other camera out there, but the reality is that I can only film in one direction at a time, and if I want to change the direction of the lens, I have to pull down the selfie stick and then adjust the camera, which sometimes can be annoying. And doing this on a jet ski at full speed, we all know how that could turn out. But the best example I have is motovlogging. To me, it's just amazing how versatile this camera actually is. And I mean, I can place this anywhere on the bike and be really creative, or actually I don't have to be creative at all because, you know, I can do everything later because it records everything. So I don't have to be creative there and then because I can do later in the studio app, which is fantastic. So I can basically just mount this in different places and then later go back into the studio and edit something cool for social media. So the fact that it records 360 videos means that I don't have to put multiple cameras on the bike just to capture every single angle. And talking about angles, one of my favorite ways of using the X4 is when I'm out traveling. Sometimes, you know, you just want to capture some aerial shots, for example, some drone shots, something which looks a little bit and feels a little bit different than those ground shots. But of course, I can do this with a drone. I have the Mini 3, I have the Mini 4, I have the Mini 4K, the Mavic 3 Classic, and so on. But you know, if you don't have a drone, or if you're on a limited budget, maybe you don't want to spend that extra $500 just to get a drone for that one trip. You know, the X4 can pull off some really amazing fake drone shots. And if you combine this with your hikes, for example, and maybe you want to throw in some vlogging here and there as well, you basically have the perfect travel camera, in my opinion, that can do everything you need while still pushing your creativity. But with such a versatile camera, you also have to compensate somewhere. So the 8K resolution is not 8K resolution, or it is in some way, but it's 8K resolution spread throughout a 360-degree field of view. So on paper it sounds amazing because it has 8K resolution, but in reality a final exported 8K clip will have approximately 2.8K resolution if I'm not mistaken. But that's 2.8K resolution in all angles, no matter where and how you reframe. And I gotta be honest with you on this one, I actually think it looks awesome. And there is a reason why I'm always grabbing this one when I'm heading out, whether this is for a vacation, riding my motorcycle, doing a hike, or just, you know, go fishing. And the reason is that this is a fantastic camera with pretty good image quality for a 360 camera. And just like any other camera out there, you have the option, if you want, to edit, correct, and grade your footage to look better. And that's why some videos look better than others, because some people actually put a little bit more effort into making the footage look awesome. But if you don't have time, or maybe you're not interested in color correction and grading, you can check out my X4 cheat sheets down below, which will have all the settings I use, a creative shot list, and basically everything you need to make the most out of your X4, whether you do travel, vlog, snorkeling, scuba diving, riding a bike, or make cinematic videos. Now, when it comes to battery life and runtime, there's not really much to say, and not really much that has changed since my previous test of this. I'm still able to record videos I want to record, and as far as my unit goes, this has no bugs, no issues, and no freezes, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. And I've also got myself a few extra batteries, so 2 extra batteries now, and the battery charger, so I can record longer, and this also takes away the, you know, unnecessary stress about making sure you have enough battery for the next thing you want to record. And I think most people grabbing a new action camera would think the same and get a few extra batteries, which really helps out no matter what type of camera you have. But as of numbers, you're gonna get around an hour in 8K 30 FPS in most scenarios, with a little bit of brace. Now, when it comes to the overall use, I think the X4 or a 360 camera in general is the only camera that can add those crazy creative shots with minimal effort. What I mean is that any camera can get these shots, it's just that it requires a little bit more in order to get them, like adjust the position of the camera backwards or forward depending on what angle you want. With the X4, I don't have to do that. It just records everything and I can later change the angle however I want, as many times as I want, and export the same video, you know, with different aspects. And that's something which is unique to a 360 camera. Now, there is one thing I've learned over the past 2-3 years, and that is that I have more fun and I enjoy more of what I'm doing with a 360 camera instead of always having to check the shot and see if I got it or not. And I can worry about the editing later or just use AI editing, which actually does an amazing job to make some social media posts. So for these shots here, for example, I just mounted the camera in a few different places as I was writing and just hit record. And this turned out pretty cool, if you ask me. Now, when it comes to the features on the X4, I actually want to talk about the features that I actually use. And if you want to know every single feature and get a full breakdown of this camera, I'll leave a link to my in-depth review down below. But as of actual usable features, I think 4K Me mode is the one that I've been using the most outside of 8K 30fps 360 videos. The boost from 1080p, which we had on the X3, is so amazing, and I just love how easy and simple it is to use. Just hit record and it will keep me in frame no matter what. So this combined with the 360 videos is such a game changer when it comes to traveling, and probably what I consider the best upgrade of them all. Another feature is also gesture control. Even though this is a minor feature for a lot of people, that only adds to the laziness, I would guess. It's a really good feature to have when you need it. But if you rather prefer to use voice commands, you can also connect this to your intercom, which is pretty neat. But personally, I prefer to use gesture control to stop and start recording with the X4, or sometimes I use the GPS remote control. But mainly, I just use hand gestures when I stop and start recording with this when I'm riding my motorcycle. Now, for low light, they recommend using 5.7K 30fps, but I actually find 8K 30fps and manual settings to be much better. And this also goes back to what I said earlier, that we all have the option to do some final adjustments and corrections in post, whether this is by using a free or paid editing software. But I'll come back to that in a more in-depth low light video with the X4 coming soon, so make sure to hit that subscribe and like button and stay tuned for that video. Now, when it comes to accessories I use, it's mainly going to be the selfie stick, just any selfie stick basically, and the DJI mic too. But I also need some accessories for when I'm out traveling or riding, for example. So for me, the 3-meter selfie stick or the 3-meter pole is essential, and I don't think I've gone anywhere without bringing this actually, because it just adds that extra spice when you want to do more creative shots, and especially when you want that bird's eye view or create some fake drone shots. So this is actually something I can highly recommend. And for those times I'm not using a 3-meter pole, I just use the 114 centimeter selfie stick. And when it comes to the other accessories I bring, it's the monkey tail and a small set of tripod feet, so I can easily put down the camera and get some walk-by shots or shoot a time-lapse or something like that. And the monkey tail is actually pretty useful, and you can mount this in just about any place and get some pretty unique shots. And of course, a few extra batteries is needed, and not to mention the premium lens guards for whenever I get into action. And these lens guards can really take a hit. And for high quality audio, nothing really beats the DJI Mic 2 in my opinion, so this is basically what I've transitioned into from my shotgun mics. And like I mentioned earlier, these are all included in my cheat sheets of what accessories I use to capture different shots, so if you're interested in the X4 cheat sheets, check them out down below. But mainly, these are my most used accessories, but of course I have other accessories laying around which I use now and then, like car mounts and different handlebar mounts, but there is one handlebar mount I prefer, which is the new one from Insta360. It's such a versatile motorcycle clamp, and it allows you to not only adjust but also rotate to get the best possible angle. Now, when it comes to reframing these 360 videos, I do have a few options like the Insta360 Studio app export, also the Insta360 Studio app editor now, and the Insta360 mobile app, and also the reframing plugin for Premiere Pro and After Effects, or just reframe each clip individually and then export those and add them to Final Cut, for example, which is basically what I'm doing. I think this gives me more freedom to adjust, especially when it comes to color correction and grading, which is a huge part of how I edit my X4 videos, and also having those clips exported separately allows me to go back at a later day and just import them to Final Cut Pro, or just use a few of them to create a reel for Instagram, TikTok, or any other social media platform where I want to, just make a short form content. But the biggest question is whether or not you should buy the X4 or should you buy the X3 instead. And if you already have the X3, should you then upgrade to the X4? Well, if you ask me, I would get the X4, but that's mainly because it's way better for me and my needs when I'm out traveling with a 360 camera, and it's mainly because of 4K me mode, longer battery life, 4K slow motion when I actually want to shoot some slow motion, and 8K 30 FPS, which is a minor, but it's still an upgrade. And we also have these other minor upgrades like a gesture control, Bluetooth connection to my intercom when I'm out riding, and so on. And we also have, of course, the connection with the DJI mic too, which is fantastic. But if you already have the X3, should you then upgrade to the X4? Well, at the end, it's going to be your decision to make, but if you're using the X4 quite a lot, so maybe as much as I used it, you will definitely not regret upgrading to the X4. And we also have those premium lens guards now, which will add that extra protection, which truly helps when you use this in scenarios which can potentially crack one of your lenses. And not to mention the improved battery life and the 4K me mode, which both makes the change well worth it. But no matter which camera you end up with, I really hope that this video could help you make the right decision based on your needs. So there you have my 2 months later review of the Insta360 X4. Let me know your thoughts on this camera down below, and on your way down there, make sure to hit that subscribe and like button, which really helps. And yeah, with that said, thanks for watching.